Good morning, everybody. It's 5:15. I'm on my way to the office. I'm running a little bit late, but I should get there on time. Not as early as I'd like to be, but on time. Last night I was thinking about how, like, when I look back, it's really clear to me that I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. It's very clear that, like, I have been on this path for a long time, you know? So what I thought I'd do this morning is kind of give you, tell you my story, really, as it pertains to business, and really what led me up to the point where, you know, 6 more working days and I'm going to be a full-time entrepreneur. You know, that path started a long time ago. So it started really when I was 17. I was a senior in high school, and I come from a family who's a big believer in the whole go to college, get a job, start a family, you know, work until you retire, and then retire. And I knew really that that wasn't what I was supposed to do. I knew that wasn't for me. I wasn't quite sure what my path was and what I wanted to be doing. I really did not know what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I knew that the whole, you know, traditional path wasn't going to be it. And when I was 18, I'd graduated high school, and, I was jumping from job to job. I was doing the whole retail thing, and every time, I hated working retail. I absolutely hated it. I hated being a slave to my own schedule. I hated the environment, and I would just regularly quit my jobs. And every time that I did that, every time I quit my job, I would always try and find a way to work for myself. I was always like, my first thing, I was like, I'm not going to have a job anymore. I'm just going to work for myself and figure it out. The problem was, back then, I was really young and stupid and impatient, and I always tried to look for, you know, the fast money, the quick money, instead of looking for the long game and actually building a business. So those never ended up working, and I always ended up having to find another job. And at one point, I was having trouble finding a job, and I ended up having to move in with my mother after a failed attempt to move out on my own. And I was unemployed. I was living in my mom's house. My stepdad was not a big fan of the fact that I was unemployed. And at one point he said, get a job or get out. And I asked him if I could go work for him. And he was a master electrician. He didn't own his own company, but he was very close with the owner of the company that he worked for. So he worked it out so I could go be a helper at the company that he worked for, and that's what I did. I jumped into the construction field, into the electrical trade, and started working my way up. I was horrible at showing up at the time. I was really, really bad at being at job sites at 6:30 in the morning, and it was not fun. But I stuck with it because I seemed to have a knack on the technical side a little bit, and so I stuck with the electrical trade, and I ended up moving from commercial over to residential and working my way up and becoming a service manager for a small electrical contractor based right outside of DC. So that was my very first real taste of management. I had been a floor supervisor at a toy store before, but I had never had a real management position where I was directly in charge of other people, and I had a lot of responsibility, and that's where I really excelled in that job. I had some friends that gave me a lot of good advice, people who had been managers before, and it was good. It was good. So when I was 26, I think, or 27, I left that job and I moved into the medical field, sort of. I was fixing medical equipment. I got that job, honestly, and this is weird, this is going to play a big role. I got that job because of a kind of a piece of misinformation that I was given. My girlfriend at the time, her friend told me that the company she was working for was looking for somebody with an electrical background to fix medical equipment. And I was kind of like, that sounds weird, but why not? I'm kind of tired of where I'm working now. The experience has been good. I've got a lot of practical management experience at this point. I'd really like a management position, but fixing medical equipment, that sounds good. She kind of talked up the company, and so I went in for an interview, and I sent in my resume and didn't hear anything for a long time, and kind of forgot about it, to be honest. And then what happened was I ended up unemployed. I had interviewed for a fiber optics company. I thought I had the job. I quit my job at the electrical contractor preemptively, and I found myself unemployed. I was surviving off of side work, which was fairly lucrative, but it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. I was kind of still suffering from the delusion that I needed a job, that I needed to work for somebody else. It's just the message that I grew up with. I hadn't really figured it out. At that point, entrepreneurship wasn't quite at like the rock star status that it is now. It wasn't cool. At that point, people were still like really making fun of entrepreneurs. There were a few that were, breaking through and becoming, big brands, and Russell Branson was one of them. Virgin was starting to get up there, but for the most part, like, entrepreneurship was still kind of in its infancy as when it comes to like being cool, so anyway, I ended up getting a call. I was unemployed, surviving off of side work, doing fairly well, but not really happy. Ended up getting a call from this medical equipment company, getting a job, which the job was awesome. The benefits and the perks were great. My manager was amazing. She taught me a whole hell of a lot. Like, she taught me more than I think anybody ever has when it comes to management. In fact, I want to try and hunt her down. She's not really big on social media, so I need to try and hunt her down and figure out where she's at, because I really want to interview her on my podcast, and that would be really cool. Anyway, that manager ended up leaving, and she encouraged me to apply to take her place. She had said from the beginning that she thought that I, with my organizational skills and my people skills, I would be and with my practical management experience, I would be a perfect fit for management. And she was actually, I was working as a tech fixing medical equipment. I was good at it. I actually enjoyed it because I kind of set my own schedule, and it was, there was a lot of freedom. So, but she said that she was actually going to try and groom me for management, and the opportunity came when she ended up leaving the company, and she encouraged me to apply. So I did, and so did basically everybody else in my department. I nailed the interview. I was a perfect fit. I had the practical experience. I was already a manager before, At that point, I was already training other technicians. In fact, there was one manufacturer that said that I was the only one allowed in the company to train people on their machines. I was doing really well for myself. I went up for this management position. I nailed the interview. The guy who interviewed me loved me. We clicked. He agreed with a lot of my points of view. He agreed with some of my concerns, and it went really, really well. Unfortunately, he was not the decision maker, and I ended up losing that job. Not like becoming unemployed, but I ended up not getting that management position because I didn't have a college degree. The person who got the job had no management experience, no supervisory experience. They had only been a tech for maybe a couple years, and they ended up getting the job just because they had a degree. And at that point, I was 30 years old, and I realized something. If I ever wanted to do anything other than turn a screwdriver, I was either going to have to go to college, or I was going to have to start my own thing and work for myself. And going to college wasn't going to really work out for me. One, because I was never a very good student. I could show up, but I'm a horrible test taker, and nothing. I honestly didn't know what I would study if I went to college. Like, there was nothing about college that appealed to me. So I decided to start my own business, and I made the decision to do a B2B business. I was gonna do marketing for people, and I ended up doing that, and that wasn't really working out, but I was working my ass off, and I ended up I kind of burned out on it, and that led me to my true passion. At this point, by the way, I had quit my job. I should probably back up, because that's an important part of the story. So I didn't get this management job, so I started my own company. I started this own my marketing company. I walked back into the office with that small electrical contractor, trying to sell the business owner on some marketing and a new website, which were desperately needed. Instead of hiring me as an agency, he ended up hiring me as an employee, as his director of marketing. And I was like, this is cool. I can do that for a little bit, use this as a case study to sell to other clients. I made it very clear that I was going to be building my own business and leaving at some point, and he was okay with that. That's the job where I'm at now, the job that I'm leaving in a week, 1 week from today. And so I started a B2B business, and I was working full-time with this electrical contractor, trying to do marketing and branding myself and my company, and it wasn't working out. It wasn't working out. I ended up kind of getting burned out on it, and at that point, I kind of found my true passion. I realized, I still wanted to work for myself. I still wanted a business. I still wanted I still wanted to do my own thing, but I was burned out on the whole marketing thing, really. I mean, I enjoyed marketing, but I did not enjoy trying to sell to, the demographic that I was trying to sell to and the market that I was trying to sell to. And so I sat back one night and I started thinking about, what is it that I really want to do? What is my true passion? What is my why? And I'm sitting back and I'm like, what would I do for free? What am I so passionate about that I would talk for hours and hours and hours on it for free? And I was thinking, and I was like, I do a ridiculous amount of ranting about my job. Not the basics like I hate my job, but like specifics, like the whole theory, the whole culture about the job. And I kind of realized that what I was kind of secretly passionate about, like secretly even to myself, was company culture and putting people before profit and all the things that I'm talking about now. So I started another company. I started J. Lippman Consulting. And I decided a lot of things with this company. I was going to rebrand myself. I promised that I was going to be 100% transparent. One of the problems that I had with the marketing company was I was trying to make myself seem bigger than I actually was. And I wasn't going to do that this time. I was going to be honest. I'm the only person who works for my company. It's just me. I do everything. I'm the consultant. I'm the founder. I'm the money guy. I'm the marketing guy. I do it all. And I wasn't going to use the word we or us until I had a we and an us. I decided, that this was what I was going to do. This is what I was passionate about. And so that's what I did. And along the way, I came to a realization, because I wasn't really getting any traction in the sales department. Branding and marketing are going great, getting a lot of traction. Social media is working for me. The vlog is working for me. The podcast is working for me. It's great. My problem is, and this is a realization I came to about a month ago, that if I'm working a B2B business, I need to be available to speak to companies while they're open. And working a full-time job does not allow me to do that. I actually came to that conclusion a long time ago, but I spent a while, putting together some side hustles and some ways to bring in some income. And when I felt confident and I talked to the people who would really be affected by this decision, and kind of got their blessing, and did my little morning meditation and continuous meditation and writing and all that stuff and all the things that I do in order to get centered and get guidance. And I kind of became very, very clear on what I needed to do. I went in and I turned in my resignation letter. And since then, it's a month since that has happened. I'm now 1 week away from full-time entrepreneurship. And so when I look back at the decision not to go to college and the trouble that caused me down the line when I couldn't really get any further in my career, which led me to the decision to start my own business, which led me, and the decision to do a business-to-business company, and the problems that working a full-time job caused, with having a B2B business. It's really, really clear to me how one decision kind of led to all these different circumstances, to another decision point of doing a B2B business, which led to another set of circumstances, which led to the point of making the decision to be a full-time entrepreneur. Everything has led me up to this point, and I have no doubt that I'm doing exactly what I need to do. And I have no doubt that I'm doing exactly what I should be doing, which is why, knowing that there are members of my family that don't support this idea and don't think I'm making the right decision and have serious concerns about, my decision-making skills, this is why I can really say I understand that you're concerned for me, and I get that, and I'm actually very grateful for that on a couple of levels. But I know that I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing, and that's why the family members that are concerned about me and don't think I'm making the right decision, don't bother me. So that's my story, guys. That's the origin story. I mean, there's plenty before that, but that's when it comes to entrepreneurship and how I got to where I am today. That's it. That is the story. And that's it for me, guys. This is a really long video, so if you stuck all the way through it, thank you. Your attention means the world to me. I'm excited about this next week. I'm really in the grind now, and I really got to make sure that everything is set up to hand over to the new guy, to my replacement, and that's going to be my focus for the next week. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll check back in. On at 3 o'clock this afternoon when I am on my way home. So take it easy, guys. I'll talk to you later.